Hello, beautiful rock stars. It is always a blessing to have you joining me for the show. I wanted to share that because of your faithfulness, the show is ranked as one of the best 20 Christian health podcasts. Wow. I truly can't express my gratitude enough for your faithful support in listening in. Being able to share my passion with you for total health is a tremendous blessing. It is my calling, it is my assignment to see women getting healthier in their body, in their soul, and in their spirit. This is one of my greatest joys. So, thank you so much again from the very bottom of my heart for your continued listening support. We are still diligently focusing on our key word for the year, which is intention. With it being Heart Health Month, we are being intentional not only about our physical heart health, but our emotional health. One of the healthy habits that helps with our emotional health is reading. Did you know that reading can relax the body by lowering your heart rate and easing the tension in your muscles? A 2009 study at the University of Sussex found that reading can reduce stress by up to 68%. Yes, wow. Personally, I love curling up with a great book. You'll usually find me reading 2 to 3 books at a time because books provide a healthy escape for me. Reading takes me out of my normal everyday routine, the busyness, and into another world and into the pages of a book. And if you think about it, when we're watching film or a TV show, we're actually given the visuals. But with a book, you're using your creative mind and you're inventing them yourself. And so it's actually much more of a powerful event because you're involved, you're engaged with reading. I was so blessed to interview one of the most prolific writers of our time, Denise Turney. Denise's books, they are empowering, they are entertaining, as well as inspirational. Her books have strong women leads, they're thought-provoking, as well as realistic. On today's interview, we discuss faith, her passion, and her Indie Award-winning book, The Long Walk Up, a childhood journey from tragedy to triumph, a gripping tale of a young girl's journey from poverty and despair to her remarkable triumphant destiny as Africa's first woman president. This interview will surely inspire and rock your world through Denise's gift of writing. Let's get to it. When it comes to women's health, there's an overwhelming amount of information out there, and honestly, it can be quite confusing. Diets, fads, trends, which one is right? What if I told you the answers to optimal health can be found in one of the most ancient medical books ever written, the Bible? If you're ready to take the guesswork out of living a healthier life, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Rock Your World Naturally show. I'm Rekishia McMillan, honorably retired Air Force veteran, certified health coach, and award-winning author. After years of trying to recover my health the world's way, I was still sick, depressed, and had no energy. Finally, I surrendered to God, and He showed me in the Bible how to recover my health, and it rocked my world naturally. My calling is to help women who are struggling and burnout to have more energy and lose weight by using God's prescription for physical, mental, and spiritual health. If you're ready to experience extraordinary health, grab your favorite herbal tea or power smoothie and let's get ready to rock your world naturally. Being intentional about reading is essential to our mental and emotional health. Studies show that reading improves brain function, and a person who reads every day just gets better at it over time. And as I shared at the beginning of the show, reading reduces stress, and we all know that modern life can be stressful. Reading improves your state of mind, it improves your overall wellness, and reading aloud to children has a lasting impact. I am a product of my mother reading aloud to me as a child. It has set the foundation of the work that I do, even on this podcast. Romans 12:2 shares that change or transformation takes place when we renew our minds. And the way to renew the mind is through reading. My guest today, Denise Turney, has helped renew the minds of millions of readers through her books. Denise Turney is a novelist, public speaker, and professional corporate writer. She brings more than 30 years of writing experience through her books and contributions to various newspapers, magazines, radio shows, speaking engagements, and writing projects. Denise is the editor of The Book Lover's Haven and the host of the literary radio show, Off the Shelf Books Talk Radio. She has been listed in various entertainment and business directories, including industry leaders such as Who's Who, 100 Most Admired African American Women, and Crosswalk. Her works have appeared in Parade, Essence, Ebony, Madame Noir, We the People, the Trenton Times, the Pittsburgh Quarterly, and Obsidian 2. Denise is the author of the books Love Pour Over Me, Portia, Long Walk Up, Spiral, Love Has Many Faces, Goddess Glory, Rosetta's The Talent Show Queen, and Gregory the Lion-Hearted. Denise Turney's books are empowering, entertaining, and inspirational. Her books, like Portia, are based in part on real-life events. Before we begin setting our intentions on our emotional health through reading, our show has two sponsors, Get Fit 21 and my free course, 7 Ways to Boost Your Immune System and Live a Vibrant Life. Heart disease is the #1 silent killer of women in the U.S. As a health coach, my passion is to help change this narrative with my Get Fit 21 health coaching program. Get Fit 21 is a 21-day medically endorsed educational and accountability program designed to help you achieve and maintain a lifelong healthy weight, blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, and positive mindset. More than 35,000 people have experienced dramatic and positive results. Our culture promotes one diet fad after another, leaving many women confused about what to eat and how to become physically active. Get Fit 21 is different. It is a proven approach that combines science-based education, daily coach interaction, and a supportive, fun, and results-driven community. This program empowers you to step into a healthy lifestyle. Don't put your goal of getting healthier off another day. Show yourself some love by investing in your health. During this Heart Health Month, take action towards better health. If you spend 21 days of your life with me, it will be one of the best decisions that you will ever make regarding your health. You can go to my website, RekishiaMcMillan.com, to sign up for the Get Fit 21 Prime Health Pack. My coaching program comes with healthy eating guides, workout programs for all levels, balanced nutrition and supplementation, tools and resources to track your daily progress, audio lessons, videos, one-on-one coaching with yours truly. Research shows that it takes 21 days for a person to make a new habit. When you improve your habits, you improve your health. Visit RekishiaMcMillan.com to sign up for the Get Fit 21 program today. Do you want to know the secret of women who don't get sick? Have you ever wondered why you always seem to come down with a life-threatening virus or certain illnesses throughout the year, while other women sail through the season sniffle, cough, and ache-free? The secret lies in having a strong immune system. I know this all too well because I used to suffer from a weakened immune system prior to becoming a health coach. Everything from the common cold to cancer is affected by your immune system. And when your immune system is strong, you will experience amazing health and vitality. And so if you're ready to say goodbye to always feeling sick and enjoy a healthy, energized life, I'm offering my free course, 7 Ways to Boost Your Immune System and Live a Vibrant Life. I created this course to help you take charge of your immune system absolutely free. In this course, you're going to learn ways to prevent illnesses, discover natural ways to boost immunity. You're going to receive tips on how to gain energy and vitality, a colorful 20-page immune boosting e-guide, video presentation to follow along with the e-guide, and I've also included bonus breathwork biblical meditations, all for free. You can say yes to better health by enrolling in this course today by going to my School of Health at rekishiamcmillancommunity.com/School of Health. That's rekishiamcmillancommunity.com/School of Health. Hello, everyone, and thank you again for tuning in to our show on today. And sometimes, you come across people in life that are so interesting and are blessed with so many gifts. And that truly is the case with my guest today, Denise Turney, who is an amazing author, truly gifted with writing and sharing her life, her work, not only locally, but with the world. So thank you so much for being my guest on today's show, Denise.
Oh, thank you, and for that wonderful, uh, gracious intro. I listened to, I've listened to your show before, so I'm really honored to be on here. I love your hosting style and your show and what you share with your listeners. So thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so, just Denise, if someone were to ask you in a few words, who are you? What would you say to them?
Oh my goodness, this takes me back to a question I was asking someone last week, and my question to them was, what did they want to be when they grew up? And they broke it down into age. When I was 6, I wanted to be this. When I was 9, I wanted to be this. When I was 15, 20, and it kept changing. So that question, who am I? I would say, who am I now? Who would I say I am now? Because if I go back, one thing that has, a couple of things have remained consistent. I definitely, I love the creator, number one, and that is very, very important to me. And then I've been a writer, or I've been writing since I was 10 years old. So that is a huge part of my identity. I've been doing it since I was a child. And the way it was revealed to me that I was a writer was something that I probably will do for as long as I'm able, which I hope is until I'm gone. But I would say a writer, somebody who definitely loves the creator, who loves my family and community. Giving back to community is so important to me. I always told myself I would never live in a community I didn't want to support, that I
Mm,
didn't want to either volunteer, do mentoring, whether it's helping pick up trash, something that gives back and it strengthens the community, and not just living in a community, but also helping to strengthen that community. I would say those things: family, community, the creator, and writing. That's
mm.
how I would identify myself.
That is so beautiful. And I love the fact where you said that, being connected to community, I think there's just so much strength in that. I believe that we were created to be relational people, to walk this life, this journey together, and we can be together to support and to grow. That's one of the main ways that we grow is in community.
Yes, not. You can do a lot of things on your own. Journaling, speaking about writing and the arts, journaling is one way. Writing down your dreams and interpreting your dreams and seeing what your subconscious has to tell you. But it is so true. A lot of our growth happens when we're communicating with, connecting with, and relating with other people, not in isolation. Because you can think you're really at peace and at rest if you're in isolation and your life is calm and serene, pretty much. And then you get out here and traffic jams and just the demands of maybe a job or taking care of someone who's going through a sick spell, And some of that peace seems to kind of flow out the window. So then you have to learn how to relate and
Yeah.
stay in peace, even when you're relating to others. And I think when you really tap in to peace,
Mhm.
you'll have it regardless of what's going on around you. Yeah,
Mhm.
relationship is so important. We learn so much from each other.
We do, we do. And you mentioned peace. And so for you, Denise, what are some things that help you to stay grounded in that place or that center of peace?
Again, these are things that I've learned for years. I was uh, reading the scriptures and meditating on certain scriptures. As I've gotten older, I mean, I still do that, but I also make myself sit still.
Mm,
And I can tell you, I really believe it does something to the brain. You know, there's some, I would tell anybody struggling with worry or anxiety, if they anybody is, to consider studying the brain, because there's things you can do to calm your brain down and to understand what happens to maybe causes you to be attracted to stress. It can make feel exciting, but right before I go to bed, I started sitting down. I used to go nonstop, nonstop.
mm,
I literally went nonstop. Worked a full time job. I was taking care of my son. I was doing my writing. I was going to book festivals, calling the cultural events, promoting and marketing my books, doing my podcast, doing my newsletter. Just I had a demanding job, and I literally would collapse in the bed at night and
mm.
get up in the morning and do the same thing. And I
Mm.
volunteered at the church I attended as a secretary. I was just doing so much stuff.
Mm.
So as I got older, I sometimes I would go to bed and I would just be wide awake. Like, why can't I go to sleep? And then I said, let me start bringing my brain down so it can relax before I get into bed. So I started just sitting down for maybe 20 minutes to an hour before I go to bed, and it just affects my sleep. So, peace, understanding how your brain works,
Mm.
and different things you can do. Like, just my grandparents used to sit on the porch and do nothing. They were married 60 years. As a kid, I looked at them and thought, oh my God, what is wrong with them? They're just sitting on the porch. I
Yeah.
thought that was so nuts. Like they should be doing something. And
Yeah.
they were hard workers too, but they would put in time to just sit on the porch together. And that was so they sit on the back porch together. They weren't doing nothing, watching TV or nothing, just sitting there. I thought that
Mm.
was odd when I was a kid. But
Mm.
that is a way to get into peace as well, and listening to music, soothing music that I love.
Mm. And I really like the fact that you said that you had to be intentional about sitting yourself down because I think, in the culture that we live in, it is a 24/7 nonstop
Oh yes.
operation. And, I can truly relate to you, Denise, because I also used to be a church secretary. So I really get that.
Oh my God. Yes.
Oh, I truly understand because you're meeting the needs of the pastor's wife, the congregation. And so there's just so many demands that come with that, along with your own personal things that you're doing. But really taking that time to be intentional, to quiet the mind, to quiet the body down. And I think it's so good to really adopt a practice to just to begin to turn that button off in a sense, or just to get in that wind down mode. And so for you, you said that that keeps you in that place of peace. Did it help you to sleep better because you said that you were wide awake, but now that you've kind of incorporated that regimen of being intentional about starting to shut down, is your sleep better?
Oh yeah, no, that was one thing I started to do. It definitely impacts. Again, that's why I said studying the brain and some of the freelance writing I would do for clients. It was about things that had to do with the body or the brain, and that's when I started to really see hormones, different
Mm,
things that firing in your brain. I
yes.
think a lot of us take it for granted. A lot of us don't really know ourselves. We
Mm,
don't. and we don't know why we do what we do, why we're attracted to what we're attracted to. So getting to know yourself, I think is very important. And so when I would just sit down, I might be watching a television show, but laying on the sofa for maybe 30, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but maybe 30 minutes to an hour before I go to bed. It helps me to just unwind, and I sleep better.
Mm. And
Hmm.
that's so, so good. And I love that. And again, intentional about shutting down. Earlier, you also mentioned that at 10 years old, Denise, you knew that you were going to be a writer. Like, can you explain that experience? Like, what happened? How did you know?
I call this my burning bush experience. It was when I was a little girl. Anybody who ever read, watched the movie Matilda, and he just had recently had a birthday. Danny DeVito was in it, and he was a used car salesman, and his daughter that she loved to read. So they thought she can't really be our daughter. They were like con artists, and she was very honest, and she loved to read, and they were totally the opposite. Anyway, Matilda read so many books, she would carry them in a wagon to and from the library. I read like that. And it
Mm.
was just so strange when I was a little girl. People would ask me, "What do you want for Christmas?" Books. "What do you want for your
Mhm.
birthday?" Books. I mean, as young as I can go back, 5, 6, 7, and I used to at my peak. I wasn't trying to read books by the number as far as I can recall. I just loved to read. But I was in like the fifth grade and I was reading 30 to 50 books a week. And I can remember
Mhm.
the librarian looked at me and she's like, "You really read all those books?" And I said, "Yes, who would carry all them books home?" And just to carry them home, did not read. So yes, I did. I did read them all. So one day, and this is just a background for what I'm getting ready to share. So I love to read. I didn't know why. I've got three brothers and a sister. My sister's a school teacher, and all of us did well in school, but I was the only one who loved to read like that. And
Mm.
I didn't know why. I just did. And so I can remember when I was 10, we had moved from Dayton, Ohio to Knoxville, Tennessee. And my sister comes running up the steps, and she's on the cover of my novel, Long Walk Up. My sister
Mm.
Adrian comes running up the steps, and she said, "Look what I found in the library." And she puts this book on the bed, and I was in a bad mood at the time. And she said, "I'm going back outside to play." She was about 6 or 7. And I sat there. At first, I was in a bad mood. I said, I'm not going to read the book. Then I finally go over and pick it up. It was a little thin book, probably no thicker than my book, Long Walk Up. And it was a book by Gwendolyn Brooks. I'm going back.
Mhm.
And today you see a lot of African American children's books, adult books. Now, when I was coming up, it was a rare find to see them. And
Uh,
so I said, "Oh my God, how did she find this book in the library?" And I didn't find it. And so, because she wasn't the reader, and it was a book of poetry by Gwendolyn Brooks. And I
Mm.
started reading this book. I just started reading this book. I can remember, I could see myself standing up. We lived in the projects in Vestal, Knoxville, Tennessee. Montgomery Village is another name it's called. And I was just reading. And for some reason, with all the other books I had already read, this book came alive. And that's
Mm.
why I was saying I used to read so many books to put it in context. This book had an effect on me, no other book I had read. And I'm telling you, I'm like, "Oh my God, it's like that character reminded me of Aunt Ruby. Oh, that could be my cousin Langston." And I didn't want this book to end. And I
Yeah.
sit down as I finish it. And I'm 10 years old, sit on the bed, and this feeling came over me I cannot describe.
Mm.
And I'm like, I was very curious. What is that feeling? And then I went, "Oh, I'm a writer." It's like it just somewhere within me came up, and I started writing, and I haven't stopped.
Oh, wow.
That
That is
yeah, that's how it came to
amazing.
me.
That
Yeah.
is amazing. And so, with you in your world being surrounded by books, it really stirred up and ignited that gift within you. And, when I look at the genre of books, Denise. You know, there are some writers where they stick to one specific area. But with you, you are such a multi-dimensional, multi-talented, gifted writer that you've written books on mystery, children's books, inspirational books, practical practices to life. And so, how is it that you get the ideas for your books when you're writing?
You know what? So I used to go to, when I first started out, I used to go up to take the bus to Gay Street in Knoxville, Tennessee. I go to the library and when I got older to work, and I go in this Walton Books. I don't know if you ever remember Walton Books.
I do.
I go in Walton Books right there, and I would at the top of the hill, and I would read Writer's Digest. It was Writer's Digest, and then the Writer and Poets and Writers,
Mm,
and they kept saying different ways you could help yourself with writing, outline, character sketches. There was
mm,
all these different things you could do, and some people use formulas like for a mystery, a formula writing for a romance, and that can give you more of a chance to gain more sales. So, but I didn't, for some reason, I never really followed those. I studied it, and so there are a lot of different ways you could. One time I did with Spiral, I did an outline, but it felt very confining to me. So what I
mm.
do, I generally sit down, blank screen. I used to write in a Spiral notebook before. I mean, I started with manual typewriters, so we along with where I started. But I would just sit down and start writing. And this is very odd. Some writers tell me they can hear their characters talking to them. I'm not one of those writers, but the story just comes. I cannot explain it, but I do know when I'm writing, I can feel I need to put a little bit more of a more relationship into it, not just keep sticking with a mystery with just this is happening and that is happening and building suspense. I need to show the person with their family more so readers can connect to them as more of a full person. I can just
Mhm.
tell when I need to do that. I can tell when sometimes I like the way something is written, but it's not moving the story forward. So I will just take it out. That used to be so hard to do when I started writing.
Mhm.
Oh, that was so hard.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
you know when it's just so it's just an internal knowing. And when I don't make the changes that I feel like I should, an
Mhm.
editor or a reader will say to me, "You should have took that out," or "That wasn't." I kid you not. So I've learned to listen to that. Just start writing, and I can tell
Yeah.
how to construct that story and flesh it out.
Mhm. Now, with all of the books you've written, which are many, is there one that you treasure most or
Uh,
more than any of the other books?
uh, I can I I will say no. I will tell you that Portia is my first, and I have 5 books that I consider my foundational books because they're the first 5 books that I came out with. Portia was number one, and Portia started out. I was in the Navy, and I was stationed in Indiana,
Mhm.
and I in boot camp. They told me they had found lumps in my breast. No, right before I went the MEP center before I went to boot camp. Then boot camp. Then when I got stationed in Indiana, so I thought I was a goner, and
Mhm.
so I sat down. I started writing these letters to my family.
Mhm.
Dear grandma, dear this one, thank you. I love you so much. Thank you for doing this or that for me. But I didn't want to tell them that I thought I wasn't going to be here. And
Yeah.
I said, when I'm gone, hopefully they'll find the letters where I just told them, thank you. I love you. Thank you. Well, I survived, and I took those letters years later and I turned them into Portia. I
Mm.
turned them into and when Portia first came out, July 1998, the internet and ebooks and none of that, ebooks weren't even around. The internet was very young. That book sold like hotcakes. I
Wow.
kid you not. That book took off when it first came out. It
Wow.
took off, and so that one is very meaningful. Long Walk Up came to me, and maybe it's the way the story came to me, but Long Walk Up came to me. I was driving to work. At, at the time, I was living in Pennsylvania, and I was driving. I worked at Merrill Lynch in Princeton, New Jersey. When I was driving to work, and all of a sudden, it came from within me to write a story about a little girl who had a very hard, traumatic childhood, but this
Mm.
glorious second half to her life. And
Mm.
that story, and I was told to keep it to 40 to 50 pages, but I shared it with a friend of mine who taught African studies at, I think it was University of Pennsylvania. She said, "Oh, you got to put a romance in there. You can't just." So I did, and it's about almost like 90 or 100 pages. So
Mhm.
it's the way that story came to me. That's
Mhm.
a long walk up. But I also really enjoy Love Pour Over Me, which is
Mhm.
probably my most. I'm not a romance writer, but if it's a, it is definitely a strong love story. Love Pour Over Me. And I
Mm.
love my Rosetta Blade series. I started Rosetta Blade, book series. Rosetta, the talent show queen, is book one. And
Oh,
she's in the fifth grade. She is something. And then Rosetta's new action adventure came out last year, and
yeah.
I hope to bring out the third book in the series this year. I just when I was a kid, I loved reading Pippi Longstocking. She was
Mm.
so independent and
Yes.
courageous, and Rosetta is just she is too. She
Y-
is she is something. She is something.
Yeah, when I see Rosetta on the cover, I think she was on a skateboard on one of the covers, and
Yes.
I just said I could just see this bright, just cheerful, energetic little girl who just loves life, and I see that so much in her character.
Yeah, and she gets in trouble sometimes, but she yeah, she's yeah. I
Hmm.
think kids will enjoy her.
Wonderful. One of the other books that I saw that you had too was The Simple Practices That Matter, Awaken Blessings of Inner Love, The Shortcuts to Self-Love and Success in a Busy World. And so just thinking and reflecting on this month is February, where we're focused on love. And many times I don't think that we focus on that self love enough, where, we can't truly love someone fully if we don't love ourselves. And so when you were writing that book, Denise, can you share just whether it's one or two of those shortcuts to self love for those that are listening?
Okay, I can. I'm going to do it off the top of my memory because I don't have the book in front of me right now. But thank you for asking. And anyone who wants to read free excerpts or learn more about me or my books, you can visit me online at Chistel, CHISTELL.com. Again, that's CHISTELL.com. So anyway, Awaken Blessings of Inner Love. This came to me as well because I think a lot of times I take for granted that people, like I said earlier, a lot of times we just don't know ourselves. We don't know how our brain functions, and everybody's brain is different. Although there's a lot of things in common, uh, unless somebody has a condition or had an accident. But it's really important to know yourself, and I think a lot of us don't know ourselves.
Mm.
We people do things, and they. I just heard somebody say yesterday I was watching a show, and a man said he said I only hit my wife once,
Mm.
and he said I apologized to her, and he said she knows that wasn't me. So I'm thinking, well, who was it?
Mm.
Because you did it. So that's where we do things, and we're like that wasn't me, but you said it. It was
Yeah.
you. It was
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
did it. So one of the things in Awakening Blessings, and something I would share, is get to know yourself. Just pay attention. And so in that book is a key is to practice awareness. And I'm trying to remember. I might have been in my 40s or late 30s before I started reading the importance of practicing awareness, because I just had a busy life. I would just go, 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 go. And I never even thought to attention. Pay attention to your routines, your patterns. Because
Yes.
sometimes we want our lives to change and we don't know why isn't my life changing?
Mm,
You're not aware of probably your patterns and your routines. And if
mm,
you keep doing
mm.
the same thing, it's just going to keep repeating, 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 repeating. And I think our brains are attracted to that. So I have heard people really say they want their life to change. They can't get out of a bad relationship. They keep going back into another bad one. You have to become aware of yourself, your habits, your patterns, practice awareness. Something I read today actually was, it said, come home every day and write about your day and do it for, I forget how many days. And
Mhm.
then go back and look it over, and you can see some of why you're doing what you're doing, and then
Mhm.
slowly start to make changes. But I also, another thing I bring out in Waking Blessings of Inner Love is get out in nature.
Mhm.
Getting out in sunshine, it can actually help. I'm not talking about serious clinical depression, but it can actually stave off like a mild depression, whether you're grieving or you're dealing with a major
Mhm.
life change, a job change, a move, etc. Maybe you've gone through a medical or a physical illness, but it's changed and we have to adjust to change. Getting out of nature, getting that vitamin D, I mean, it's just
Mhm.
good for your brain. And you want to produce enough serotonin in your brain, and using a full spectrum lamp. That's something I share in the book as well. uh,
Mm.
Getting enough sleep at night. They've even shown where you don't want to oversleep, but
Yeah.
getting enough sleep, it actually helps with weight maintenance. If you don't get enough sleep and you're constantly going, it
Mhm.
getting enough rest is also important. And good sleep, drinking fresh water help flush your system out. These sound like simple things, but so many
Mhm.
of us don't do these simple things. And
Mm.
getting up and moving and exercise. Life is not. I don't think. I wish it was. Life is not going to be optimal at its optimal best if you don't take the right steps to make it that way. It's not just
Mhm.
going to fall into your lap.
No, that's so good. And I love the fact that you mentioned that these are simple practices. But I think, Denise, that as technology and so many of the other advances that we have in our world have taken over, in a sense, we've gotten away from these basic, simple practices that would help us out in our lives, so much. Getting enough sleep, as you shared. And I've been hearing that so much lately about getting proper sleep, proper rest. I know for me, I got to be in bed by a certain time because if I don't, I just I don't do well with lack of sleep. But as you shared, getting the proper rest, drinking water, doing those simple things that are going to, as your book says, awaken blessings of that inner love.
And unfortunately, and I work with colleagues who they have young children, and I think kids don't go outside and play as much. I heard a
Mhm.
study that said sometimes I it's all in the Lord's hands, but I think, man, what if our future generation is gonna be like? People
Yeah.
don't. I'm told people don't talk on the phone anymore. It's just texting, and
Mhm.
they said was the average American child now spends, I think is it 30 minutes outside a week? A
Mm,
week. I
wow.
used to spend, we used to spend
Oh,
hours a
yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's true. It's
So
so
these are
true.
like the things in the book and in other books, they are so simple. But
Yeah.
as we move away from them,
Mhm.
we have to be reminded of these simple things because people won't even think of it. They will get a prescription and
Mm,
not think I can go outside, I can exercise, I can
yeah.
adjust my diet, I can make sure I get enough sleep. So I hope we don't get there. I hope. we do remember these simple things.
Yeah, and it's almost like, again, we have to be intentional. That's like our word of the year, that we are sticking with, being intentional about these things. And it's almost like we have to fight to maintain and hold on to these things because they are beneficial, to us in the busy time and the busy world that we live in. And we just got to shut down the distractions, shut down the distractions so that we can experience those blessings.
Yes, for sure.
Mhm, mhm. Something else, I wanna circle back to your book, The Long Walk Up, and about going from tragedy to triumph. And on the cover of the book, there's a quote, an African proverb that you use, Denise. However long the night, the dawn will break.
Oh yes, and I do believe that. And our journey, and just as little Mulligan, and I will tell you, I think our journey is a journey to our true self. But
Mm,
in Long Walk Up, she is 6 years old, and at first glance, you say when you start to read the story and what happens to her, uh, you could say, "Oh no, that could never happen to anyone," and unfortunately, it can. And like the earthquake in Syria and Turkey, the earthquake
mm,
that happened in Haiti,
yes.
different wars, different. I mean, catastrophes. They create these mullikins, and they in some parts of the world, she would be called a street child. And I saw this a documentary or a show about these two little African kids. This one, AIDS was ravaging the world, and there was a little girl. She was about 5, and her brother might have been 7. They would sleep on a fold out a cardboard box. That was their bed. You just pick it up and carry it around with you, and they'd sleep on it. And they would, I don't know if they collected little like tin metal cans and trade them in enough to have enough money to eat. Their whole thing was just get through the day,
Mm,
just get through the day. They didn't have time to think about tomorrow. Just get through this day. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that little kids, no parents, no relatives would live like that." And then I found out there are lots of kids who live like that.
yes, yes, yeah.
Lots of kids. And so Mulligan, her father, they they come into this a village, this area when it was thriving. It was just so lush and just vegetation and the animals, and like anything in the world, it starts. This world is up and down. You got to know when to shift, when to change, and it starts to dry up. Well, their
Mm,
leader, he was a very courageous man, but he refused to change even
mm,
when he saw that it was time to move on. So her father passes, and her siblings, and then finally her mother. Mulligan could have stayed with the other women and this leader, but something in her was guiding her. And she takes off one day up this steep hill, and she doesn't know where it's going. She's just this inner guidance. And she at some point she thinks I should have just stayed. And another point she just wishes she would die because she's very hungry. And she rolls down this hill, and she ends up like in a market, all these different people speaking. She's a little girl, remember, she's 6 years old. And a man takes her in, and he and his wife, and there was a true story I base this on about a
mm,
couple who took in little orphans in Africa, and it became just too psychologically overwhelming for the wife. But I don't know if the husband kept a similar program going to help these orphan kids. Well, in the story, they take her in, and I don't want to give. Well, I do say on I just tell you she has a triumphant destiny.
mm,
um, I would encourage just the reader to read the story. And my purpose too is how it came to me. I knew I had to write it, and then also to inspire people that despite your beginning, despite your hardships, if it's, I think it's planted in each of us to do great things, great good things. And
Mm.
when you get that call, or you feel that magnetic pull, follow it. If it's rooted in love, follow it and see where it takes you. A lot of people we admire, they actually started way far away from where they are now.
Mhm. No, I love that, because in life, as you said, we don't know. Things happen, life happens, it's never going to stop, but life is happening around us all of the time. And what we're going through is not going to last forever. But at some point, that dawn will break. And so, for those who are listening that want to read your amazing and wonderful books like The Long Walk Up, where can they find your books, Denise?
Thank you so much for asking, and thank you again for the invitation to be on your wonderful podcast. They can find the books at either my website, and the shipping is free if ordered through the website. And again, that's Chistel, CHISTELL.com, or Barnes and Noble, eBook It, Bookshop. There's so many bookstores and in indie bookstores, and of course Amazon.com. It's in most of my books are ebook, paperback, and some are also like the Rosetta book series are also available in hardback as well. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome, Denise. Are there any parting words that you would like to say to our listeners?
I would say this one thing: change happens. I used to, when I was younger, I thought change happened every few years, it's happening instant by instant. And
Mm.
then we just notice it after it seems to pile up. Then we're like, oh, that's it. Oh, I got more gray hair. Gray hair instant by instant, or whatever it is. And that's why when you go to the doctor, they tell you, watch this, watch that, because they know.
Mhm.
And if you keep this up in several years, you're going to be far in one direction or the other. So pay attention. Pay attention. Practice awareness. No matter where you are now, this is a great starting point to
Mm.
start moving up. It's a
Mm.
great, great starting point, regardless of where you are. Great, great starting point.
Oh, Denise, thank you so much for those words of encouragement and um, just sharing your heart, your passion with us today. And I pray God's blessings on you to continue to write many more books to
Oh, thank
share
you.
with the world.
Thank you so much. I so enjoyed this show. Thank you.
God bless you, Denise.
Okay, thank you.
God bless. Denise Turney's work has positively touched countless lives, bringing joy, love, creativity, and light through printed pages. Reading is a free and natural way to get better sleep, improve your cardiovascular health, strengthen your cognitive function, and extend your life expectancy. Reading every day has proven to have multiple health benefits. According to the Guinness World Records, the Bible is the best selling book of all times. An estimated 5 to 7 billion copies have been printed over approximately 1,500 years, according to the British and Foreign Bible Society. By reading the scriptures, we get our spiritual food, we learn who God is, we learn what God's truth is, and we reorient our thinking or renew our minds to what God says. The Apostle Paul told Timothy why scripture is important. 2 Timothy 3:16 through 17 says that all scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness, that the man of God may be completed and equipped for every good work. I want to encourage you to be intentional about reading the Bible regularly and other positive works like those from Denise, because reading is great for your spiritual, mental, and physical health. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I pray that it blessed and challenged you to move towards living the abundant life that God has for you. If so, would you stop right now and share this episode with someone who's been praying to improve their health spiritually, physically, or emotionally? I would love it if you could take 30 seconds to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. This is the only way that I know that you're liking the show. Also, it rocks my world to hear from you. Lastly, come on over to my free community, RekishiaMcMillanCommunity.com, to grab your free gifts. I have everything you need to know about working with me, taking my courses, or connecting. Also, head over to RekishiaMcMillan.com to explore my health products and sign up for free complimentary health coaching. My prayer for you will always be 3 John 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. I'll see you in a few days. God bless.